Welcome. We're so glad you're here today. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Macaire McDonough-Davies. I'm the principal here at Deerwood Elementary, and I am here with Rebecca Tribo. Rebecca is a Deerwood parent, PTA member, and she's also the PTA advocate for Humble ISD. So together, we're going to welcome you and tell you a little bit about what we have planned for tonight. First things first, we are thrilled to have National Charity League here volunteering, and also Deerwood Elementary's PTA. So if the children want to go down with the NCL members, we set up some STEM games in the library. So if the students want to go down, or if they're more comfortable staying here, that's fine too. We've got lots of people to introduce, and we want to do some really great work tonight. I think you'll leave here with maybe some ideas, some solutions, and maybe some resources to help you during a difficult time. I'm going to let Rebecca kind of tell you how this all started, and then we'll talk a little bit more about our night that we have planned.
Hello, like she said, I'm Rebecca, and I've lived in the area for over 30 years, and I have a son who goes to Deerwood, and I actually went to Deerwood, so I feel like I have a lot of knowledge of the area. And this kind of started a couple months ago. It seemed pretty obvious that people in the area were struggling post-hurricane, rightfully so. And then obviously like on the 3rd and then on the 7th, we got like torrential rain, and it was very, very clear that there were a lot of people in our area that were struggling to kind of work through some underlying issues that maybe have been around for a couple of years now. So, you know, when you want to get something done, you always go education, because they've already got the infrastructure and they can always help you. So I went to Macaire and Jerry and asked if we could put something like this together for the district and for the families in the district to just be aware of the resources that are available to y'all, because I think there's just a lot of people who aren't aware that we have these great things to help us. So we put this together. We have an email sheet in the back that if you want to put your email on, we're going to send out like a Google form after tonight to see kind of what you're wanting of the resources you hear about, what sounds good, what would be best for your family, what would work best for you. We're going to try and get a summer series together of maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks of different things, maybe a yoga class, you know, coping through movement. Maybe we could have some practical knowledge with an insurance person or a lawyer, or maybe just a community event where we all get together and kind of just spend time together. So we're wanting feedback. So if you are willing, if you'd give us your email address, and when we share this video with the community, we're going to ask for their email addresses. Anybody who's interested in giving us feedback, you can share the Google form with. I know there are a lot of people who wanted to be here tonight, but May is crazy, end of the year stuff and sports stuff. So share it with any of your friends, this Google form that we send to you, because we want to hear as much feedback as we can. But it's going to be a really good night, and thank you guys for being here.
Feedback before, so thank you so much. So you see the videographer here. The district has graciously sent Marcella over to videotape our session today, but we want to make sure that we're ensuring your privacy. And when we get to the question and answer session, when we'll open it up for questions and answers, we're going to turn the video off so that you feel more confident and comfortable, and that we respect your privacy. So let's talk about what we're going to do tonight. Our area has a newly created position. It is the Disaster Recovery Behavioral Health Specialist through HAAM, the Humble Area Assistant Ministries. And it's a newly created position. And we're going to have that person. Her name is Jennifer Karlstrom, and she is actually a licensed social worker. She's going to speak about kind of what we're experiencing. As Rebecca mentioned, a lot of us are feeling anxious. A lot of us are feeling feelings that we haven't felt before when it rains because of the recent weather event. So we're going to talk about what resources are available to help us and to help our children. We then are going to have Matt Smith. Matt is the Elementary Counseling and Behavior Services director here for the district. So he works with all the counselors at all the schools, for the elementary schools, of which we have 28. So every one of you has a counselor on staff at your elementary school, if this isn't your home campus. And those counselors can also help. I want to introduce Cara Peck. Cara Peck is the counselor at North Bell Elementary, and she is with her therapy dog, Rue. Do you want to come up and say something, Cara? And then we're going to dismiss her to go and work with the kids down in the library. Rue is Cara's third therapy dog. I don't know if we can do it at the same time. Okay. Rue is still in training. Mm-hmm.
Resource. I just hold it near you. Okay, another resource and tool for our students when they're in a crisis. For example, last week she visited Elm Grove Elementary and just spent the day with students who experienced the flooding, whether it was in their car or their house. She's just another resource and tool to help our kids come and talk in small groups. So I think, how many dogs do we have now, Matt? 6 dogs here in Humble. So if your kids come home and say, I got to pet a dog today and spend the day with the dog, they're really telling the truth, because we have those available. And so she's going to go down now to the library.
Thank you so much, Cara. Thank you, Rue. Let's see. I do want to recognize Dr. Ann Johnson. She's in the back, and she also really helped us get this put together. She's the Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and we appreciate her bringing a team. We also have quite a few principals in the back, too, from other elementary schools. So thank you so much for coming. I do want to give a shout out also to Helen Wagner. Helen is the coordinator of health and PE, and Helen has done a lot of work. Maybe, do you want to come up and talk, Helen? Because you've got some really interesting news to share, as well as she's done a ton of legwork in the last week, preparing for this.
Good evening. And I say a lot of legwork, but a lot of footwork too, because I was able to go out in the community and visit with some people and reconnect with some families that when I coached at Elm Grove, I had their students. And so thank you for being here tonight too and experiencing what we're going to go through together. So what I've done is I've put together some lists of resources from Harris County. And I will have a handout on the back table for you, and it's from medical care to dental care to vision, basically in Northeast Memorial, Squatty Lions, where you can go and receive medical care and dental care on a sliding scale for sure, and possibly even for free. So I have a list of those resources for you, along with some of these things I did pull off of Dave Martin's website that I know many of you have been following the past few days, and it deals with the residential storm damage repair work. So it's more about the structural repair of your home and knowing what the do's and the don'ts are when you're having to go through that and experience what to tear out, what not. And it also has wonderful information on the back with numbers to call and what can be repaired and not. And I understand that they are also looking into with the permits that are coming through that people have to have. They're looking at waiving, it hasn't been approved yet, but they're looking at waiving those permit fees. Not that you don't have to have a permit to do the work, but they're looking at waiving the fees. So stay posted with that as well. Those of you that do not follow Dave Martin on Facebook, I encourage you to do so, because he is really pushing out a ton of fabulous information. Some other resources that we have that I went around just in our community, the YMCA, just so that you know, if some of you don't have showers or things like that right now, you can certainly go by the YMCA. Feel free to take a shower. They have water, coffee, a cooling station for you, place to just go and sit and relax as well, because I know some of you are working endless hours in your homes, and you just need sometimes that getaway for a moment. So the YMCA, please know that they are a resource that you can use as well. Another resource that we have is the library, the Harris County Public Library in Kingwood. They have numerous programs available, all the way from children to teen to adult for the summer. And I have a handout of the children's activities. It will be on the back table as well for you for June and July and into August. And then there are teen activities and also adult activities. Once again, a nice place to go to be able to kind of escape for a few minutes and have just some regular portion to your life and piece to your life. So I would like, right now, Petra is one of my, she was a former parent in Elm Grove as well. And she's still a parent, but she was a former parent of a students that I was blessed to have her, 2 of her 3 children at Elm Grove. And we've kind of been keeping up to date together on different resources that pop up and are available. She had one, as a matter of fact, tonight that came through. We understand there is a 2 hours ago, and this came from Dan Crenshaw's office. I want to go ahead. I believe it has to do with mattresses from Mattress Mac.
Mattress Mac donated around 50 mattresses to the flood victims. You have to call. Let me see. I get to pull this up. Make sure I got the right number. It actually came from Daryl Palmer, and call 713-365-6319, which is the Second Baptist Church, if you're in need of a mattress. And you need to call before Friday. Friday is when this all ends. 713-365-6319. It ends on Friday. And that was put together by Dan Crenshaw and Mattress Mac. Okay.
And another event that's being held tomorrow night as well at the Kingwood Community Center is Rainsiety, and it's for 2 hours. So I think Petra had some information, and we have some flyers on that as well. One last note before I hand it back over. As I was walking in the neighborhood, I noticed that there were a lot of pets and a lot of people concerned about their pets as well, because, you know, the storm has taken its toll on them as well, and they're having to be crated up, or they're in homes that are right now under a lot of construction work. So on the back of one of the resource handouts, it has some helpful tips for your animals to remember when they're going through these trying times as well, and how that can affect them. And so there's just some helpful tips for y'all to take out with that as well. So that's kind of the legwork from this end. Sure.
Sorry. The Kingwood Community Center is an adult center. It's not a senior center, which a lot of people think. 98% of what we offer at the Kingwood Community Center is free. We have everything from book clubs to fitness classes to line dancing, crochet, knitting, quilting, canaster, bridge, dominoes. There's almost everything, and if they don't have it and you want it, we will try to get it for you. But like I said, most of the stuff at the Kingwood Community Center is free. There's yoga classes, Tai Chi, and if you need to get away, be an adult for a minute or two, or not. So I just noticed that a lot of people in the community think that this is a senior center. It is not. It's adults, 18 plus. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Petra and Macaire and your team.
Thank you so much. Some invaluable resources. As I mentioned earlier, we're videotaping this, and our goal is to get the video out tomorrow. And we will try to get as many of the resources linked to that too, because I know you're going to want to share this with people who might not have been able to attend today. But now I'm ready to turn this over to Jennifer Karlstrom, again from HAAM. She is the Disaster Recovery Behavioral Health Specialist and Licensed Social Worker. Thank you so much for coming, Jennifer.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you guys so much for coming out today. We are very lucky in this community of Humble ISD to have so many folks working together to try to share as much information and support the community as possible. So as Macaire introduce my mouthful of a title. I am the Disaster Recovery Behavioral Health Specialist, which means that I'm a counselor, that I'm here to help folks that have been affected by Harvey. We were very lucky at Humble Area Assistant Ministries to partner with the American Red Cross. They were able to provide us enough funds to allow us to offer free counseling and also community outreach, education, presentations, and allow us to help the community with the needs that come after the basic needs have been fulfilled. We are very fortunate in this community to have so many folks coming together with donations such as furniture and mattresses. One of the things I wanted to add to what Petra had mentioned, that HAAM is also partnering with Second Baptist, so you can also come directly to HAAM and get information on how to receive a mattress. For those of you that have not been to HAAM, we are located in Humble on 1302 First Street East. You have to put that east in there because it will send you to a different location. Lots of folks in the community have donated to our resale shop, but located right next door to the resale shop is our social service agency. And we have also, just like Rebecca has been here 30 years in Kingwood, HAAM has been here 30 years in the Humble area. And basically, it was created by a lot of our local churches coming together, seeing the needs of the community and trying to find a way to fill that need, realizing that when we partner with each other, we can get many, many things done and make a bigger impact in our community. So those of you that have donated to HAAM's food pantry, folks come to HAAM every day that are needing supplies, everyday supplies like food and cleaning supplies, things like that. But what you may not know is that HAAM also provides other services to help folks in our community become more self-sufficient. So we offer education and employment opportunities. We have an employment coordinator that helps and meets with folks that are looking for jobs. And then we also have case managers. And that leads us back to the disaster recovery program that we have. In addition to myself, the disaster recovery team is made up of a disaster case manager, and she is basically here to do, and I've forgotten my previous speaker, she is able to get all of the resources that are available for those that have been affected by Harvey and also for those that have been affected by the most recent flood, and link folks up to different services and different organizations that can help. That is a mouthful of introduction, but one of the things that I wanted to talk most about is really what I do. And in addition to meeting with folks one-on-one for counseling, and that's short-term counseling that we have available, if we have folks that we've seen and it seems like their needs are greater, then I work with them to refer them on to maybe more intensive or long-term counseling as well. One of the other things that I've been doing is going to different schools, different community groups, scout groups, and churches, and speaking about emergency preparedness. When we have all been in this community and when we have been impacted by a natural disaster, we can see that the community starts to build back up. We see that people are able to move back into their homes, and businesses are starting to open up. But we know that there are things from Harvey that are still lingering. And a lot of times, we're wondering, like, when are we going to feel like we used to? And how can we get back to that feeling of normalcy now that we've moved back in our home? And so a lot of times, folks that were impacted by natural disasters had never even thought in terms of, how do I deal with anxiety? How do I talk to my kids about fear? And so that's the one thing that kind of has brought us together here with the Red Cross, providing counseling to those folks that may have not thought before about what their own personal mental health needs were, but now are facing new and different territory that they may have not dealt with as an adult or as a parent. So before I ramble on more, I wanted to talk to you about what I have here at the table to offer. One of the things that we've talked a lot about with the kid groups that I've gone to is how to reduce anxiety. And one of the biggest ways we can help equip our kids with some extra tools on how to cope is by helping them prepare. And so we are so fortunate because we have through Dave Martin's office, we have through FEMA, and we have through the Red Cross, lots and lots of information of how to prepare ourselves for the next natural disaster, which is really even hard to imagine and talk about, that we're about to enter hurricane season when we haven't quite put everything back together for the most recent flooding that we had. But one of the things that is important is that we talk about those things and that we prepare ourselves. I've brought here, and as Rebecca mentioned, she's collecting email addresses so that everyone in the community can share. These are handouts about being Red Cross ready. And basically, it is an informational pamphlet on how to put an emergency kit together, how to make an emergency plan with your family, and how to talk to your children and your neighbors about how to be prepared when the next natural disaster may arise. The other pamphlets that we have up here are things that we were able to get from FEMA, and that's about how to stay safe during a power outage, or how to stay safe during a thunderstorm, or how to stay safe in preparation for a hurricane. One of the most important parts about what I would like to share with everyone today is it's very important, even if it's something that makes you feel uncomfortable, that you talk about. And if you don't have someone to talk to about how you're feeling, that you reach out. And certainly you are welcome to reach out to HAAM. You can reach out to me. All of my contact information and our organizational information is here at the table, and we are happy to provide you with any of the information and services that we can. I'm trying to think if there's any other types of information that we can cover today. Yes. Absolutely. So we do have handouts that I encourage everyone today, after our presentation is over, to come up and look at the table, because there's lots of resources available. You just need to know what they are, and you're welcome to do that. And we'll also scan everything. We'll put everything out on the email and possibly on the HAAM website as well. But I just wanted to tell you again, thank you so much for allowing me to come out here and speak to you, and I look forward to speaking to folks one-on-one as well.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I really appreciate you being here, and such good tips, thinking about how we can give our kids control and ourselves control by preparing. I thought that was an excellent tip. So we will get those handouts to you. Next, we're going to have Matt Smith. Matt is the elementary counseling and behavior services, I think I've probably, director. So, and here's Matt Smith to give us some more tips.
Thank you. Well, I'm happy to get to be here for the evening. I am the proud parent of a little dolphin. I've got a 4th grader who goes to school here, and my sweet wife there, and then I have an 8th grader as well. So, as we navigate this journey of the storm, it looks different for every family and for each of us as individuals. So one of my favorite things to do is to talk about the role of the school counselor. I don't know if you are all from Texas. I am not from Texas. I didn't have a school counselor growing up. I was in a little bitty school, so I didn't even know there was such a thing until I came to this great state. And we are so fortunate in Texas that every school does have a school counselor, and that all of our students, as they grow and develop, are receiving valuable instruction. And so I just wanted to spend a moment talking about the things that our counselors are talking to students about, and this is for all students, things like optimistic thinking, self-management, relationship skills, goal-directed behavior, those skills that grow us as individuals, that can help us when times get tough. Because times get tough for every one of us. As we often say in our family, I haven't met the person yet whose life is easy. And we need to draw on those strengths that are inside of us so that we can navigate that journey. But I've also heard a few references to churches and faith-based communities. We saw such an outpouring of support throughout these storms and throughout this journey from our faith-based organizations. People of all different faiths, but what their thing that they have in common is that they connect us to hope. And that's such a valuable thing during this time. I brought a little handout, and there's some on your table. You may have already looked at it. And it just talks about some things that we might start to see in our students. I don't know if you experienced this, but I know that over the last couple of weeks, every time it started raining, and I'll just tell you, our home did not flood. We are up a little hill in Kingwood on our street, and so our home did not flood. The base of our street did flood, and the houses down at the bottom, and then our office building flooded. So I know what it's like to not have something at your fingertips when you need it, but I don't know what it's like to lose everything. So I just want to recognize that we're all in different places, and the people that we interact with every day are in different places. But every time it rained over these last couple of weeks, my heart started beating a little faster. I started wondering, okay, are we going to need to get the girls? Are we going to need to ride the bus? What's going to be the plan? And for a lot of our school-age children, and for a lot of our staff, and a lot of our community had some of those same types of reactions. That anxiety started to build a bit. There were moments of questioning, not really sure what the plan was going to be. So if you want to just look for just a moment at this sheet, and it shows different age groups, different things that you might see. So for some of our younger age students, sometimes they start to regress. They start to look like they did maybe when they were 2 or 3 or 4 years old. Maybe they're crying unexpectedly, or maybe bedwetting is happening. But we see kind of a regression because of the unsurety that they're going through. Difficulty concentrating. We have students who struggle with that in general. We have adults, we struggle with that at times, with concentrating. But when you couple that with rain happening outside, and then if maybe I don't have any windows in my classroom and I'm not sure what's happening, or maybe all I have is that big wall of windows and I'm just watching and watching, that can make my anxiety increase, and then I can't focus really on hardly anything else. So you can see just all of these different behaviors that are listed on here. But look at the parent tips or the adult tips, those tips for support. I think this is a wonderful resource in things that we can do. First of all, there's one that says just remain calm and react slowly. So many times as anxiety starts to happen, we kind of go into this frenzy, and my actions may start to mirror the activity that's happening in my mind. And there's wonderful reasons that I do it, but in that moment it's not helpful. So I want to take that deep breath. I want to look and see, let's look and find out a little bit more about what's happening. Spending some extra time with struggling family members. If I notice that my little one is maybe having trouble sleeping at night, or maybe she doesn't want to be away from us when normally she would, I can make some space for that, and we can let things look a little bit different for a little bit as we work to calm them. Providing stability and routines. Believe it or not, this is one of the things that as a community and as educators we often struggle with. How do we keep the balance of the routine of the day with the events that are happening? Sometimes the only basic routines that we can have on that day may be that we're going to eat 3 meals today. And we're going to rely on those maybe in our community who are helping us with that. Or it may be that we're going to sleep at nighttime. and we're going to work during the day, whatever that work may be, whether that's cleaning out our house, whether that's being there to support others. So look at what does a routine look like in general for your family. But that routine, it helps all of us because it brings that stability that we have. And this one at the bottom, I want to just emphasize it because I think it's so important. And for my little family, this is one of the hardest things that we struggle with. Monitor and limit exposure to storm media coverage. I don't know about y'all, but I mean, we had that Weather Channel on, you know, and we're watching it, and it's just on, and then it's in the background, and we didn't realize that our nervousness and our energy was connecting to that. And then they're showing all of the rains and everything that could happen, and then they're interviewing 50 people about their experience, and it's just kind of washing over us and flooding over us. So for our family and for your family, what does that look like? How do we keep aware of what's happening, yet not make it everything that's in our world in that moment? It may be that, okay, we need to know what's happening on the weather. So we're going to turn it on for 5 minutes every hour. And we're just going to get an update. Okay, it hasn't changed, or oh, now it's saying it's this, or whatever it may be. And then we're going to turn it back off, and we're going to come back together and see, so what do you need in this moment? So this is just a list of some tips that we have found helpful in our family, and it's something that could help your students or your children, your grandchildren, or your neighbors. Because I recognize, you know, a lot of times we're here, and hopefully we may hear something that we think, oh, I was just talking to this person maybe down my street, or this person that I ran into at our game night. And we can share those information. And that's a big reason that we're recording tonight's session, because there's so many in our community who have experienced different levels of loss and different levels of anxiety, and others in the community who are just looking to see, how can I help? And so I'll tell you, HAAM is our go-to. When something's going on and we need help, our first resource that we reach out to is HAAM, so we're so thankful to you and everything that y'all do there. So I just wanted to share this as a resource, and also let you know, I told you that the counselors are going in and teaching students about those grade 8, those portrait of a graduate skills that are making us successful in life. But there are other students, you may say, you know what, this does look a little bit like my student. We have counselors who run groups, small groups. It's where they just get together, 3 or 4 kids. You saw Cara earlier, and she had her dog, Rue. Often dogs are a part of that journey that we just kind of work through. Well, what was it like for you? We had a group at Elm Grove just the other day, and we had just to see these littles sitting around in a circle with Rue, just talking about, well, what happened in the rain? What was your experience? And to just see them petting the dog and walking through their journey in a safe and comfortable way where they could navigate it in the way that they were able to. And also to have one another supporting them, saying, well, what could we do to help? And they talked about how people brought us sandwiches, people came and helped us in our house. So if you felt like, maybe my kid would like to be a part of that. Even in the upcoming school year, there will be small groups that counselors provide. We'll also do our summer series with different counseling services. So I just wanted to mention some of the things that our school counselors do to support your students.
Thank you so much, Matt. I think we're going to, I'm just going to reiterate a few things, and then we will stop the recording, and then we will allow for us to have a little bit more intimate conversation and talk about resources. I'm so thankful to live in Humble, to be surrounded by such caring people, and we do have resources. I think the thing to think about, and this is what we see, is that perhaps we've never needed any assistance before. Perhaps we've never had therapy or needed or had anxiety, and we see it in our kids or even in ourselves now. So that's why I wanted to put you in contact with local resources that can help us navigate through these storms, because the feelings are real, and our students and our staff and our friends, we're feeling anxious when it begins to rain, and that's the reality. So what can we do to help ourselves feel better? Rebecca and our whole group worked on brainstorming the other night, and we would like to continue this through this summer, because we realize school's going to be out next week, and but our kids may still feel anxious. We still may have weather concerns. So we really want your feedback in the Google form that we'll send to you tomorrow, but also we also want on our videotaped people who are watching to fill it out too. But we are thinking about a series, maybe a 4 to 6 session series. We've got a shorter summer this year, so maybe a 4 to 6 week series, inviting people in, as Rebecca said, maybe it's just that we come and meet together in this cafeteria in the summer for community. We talked about maybe doing some mindful meditation or some yoga or some movement. That's great for all of us. Maybe we do small groups. Maybe we bring in the district's counselors, the elementary counselors, and have them come in and run some small groups. And then maybe we have a practical session. Maybe it's a session where a contractor comes in, or an insurance person, or an attorney, and just kind of talks us through. I keep thinking about what you said, Jennifer, and it's really, if I have a plan, if I'm more prepared, I feel more in control. So if you're interested in any of that, or you think of stuff that we did not even think about, please include that in your feedback to us, and we will do everything we can to make it happen. Also, just giving a plug to the Rangxiety event tomorrow night, and we've got a handout for that. It's for us a place to get additional information. Thank you again so much for coming. We're going to turn the video off, and then we're going to go ahead and ask questions if anyone has questions.